Welcome back, everyone, to Family in Focus with Dr. Wendy Schofer. That's me, and this is episode number 108. Today, I'm calling this Are You Playing Ping Pong or Chess with Your Kids? Let's understand a little bit more. So, I'm going to admit it, I am a huge planner. And it really made sense when I completed a strengths inventory, the Clifton Strengths Assessment. And I realized that I am what they call a maximizer. I immediately thought of how I'm a woman who loves three things: Tetris. I love playing Tetris. Two, packing and repacking the car, so you get the optimal space usage on the trip and also the ability to stuff the bus even better. And number three, having my Google Calendar schedule just kind of like fit just right. I am clearly a maximizer. And I also see the downside because we always have kind of like the downside to your strong suit. And I spend a painstaking amount of time reconsidering all of the options so that I can, of course, hone in on the best one. There's a little bit of a lot of rigidity that comes in. Once I think that I've found the best streamlined plan, I don't want to deviate from it. And also, to my husband's chagrin, I tend to move the furniture around the house repeatedly, and he tends to bump his feet into furniture that is newly in the way when he gets up in the middle of the night to go get a drink without remembering that Wendy the mover has struck again earlier in the day. Yes, there's a downside to maximization. Even the best parts of us can sometimes get in the way of what it is that we want to do, how we want to be. And this is really kind of like what was coming up as I was reading. Oh, where is it? Reading my improv book earlier this week. So, Truth in Comedy. Yes, I love it. It's the manual of improvisation. There's actually a manual for that, of course. I love improv comedy. I've been taking classes at the Push Comedy Theater in Norfolk, Virginia for the past few years. And I was recommended to read Truth in Comedy at the beginning of my training. And yeah, I'm now finally soaking it up because it's truly resonating with me. And while I was reading and, kind of thinking about parenting and all came together, there was this collection of topics that I was reading about in the improv book about building relationships on stage as well as playing games. And you will find that improv and life, it's all about games. Games can teach us about give and take, about rule following and breaking, and about collaboration. I mean, go figure that this is why games are so much of a part of growing up, of childhood. And there was an analogy that they used in the book using two games, ping pong and chess. So if you think about it, like chess is a game where you play it planning many moves ahead. And it's a very cerebral game. You're always thinking and planning. The maximizer in me loves chess, loves it. And then ping pong is very different. It's much, much more active in the moment. You may consider where you want to send the ball in the next move, but it is completely dependent upon where and how you receive the ball. You have to be in the moment. And I automatically thought about my kids. I am a master planner. If one kid wants to go to law school, well, there are all the resources to look into, the classes to take, the grades to get, the networking to make, the internships to apply for. I chess the whole situation because I'm thinking about how can we plan ahead? How can we maximize it? And yet I'm finding that chessing it, totally in air quotes there, isn't working. My brain wants to always jump several steps ahead. And considering the consequences of a step, a consequences of a mistake, how to fix it, fear and worry start sneaking in about not doing the right thing, not taking the right steps. It happens with health all the time. We jump to conclusions based on risk factors, which are often population based risk factors, by the way. And we also beat ourselves up over choices like food, activity or inactivity, lifestyle. All the time we're doing this. We're not actually living in the moment, in the ping pong game of life in these moments. And I hear you. I think that planning ahead is still, it's a super skill, but there's also a magic in learning to be in the moment. Chess players have mad skills, and so do the ping pong players. Ping pong players, they build intuition, predictive conditioning. Like it's one of these things that they can start predicting where the ball is going to go. It's not planning, it's prediction. There's agility. And I can only think of Ted Lasso's admonition to be a goldfish. Goldfish, according to Ted Lasso, have the shortest attention span, or was it memory? Okay, either way, he encouraged his soccer team to be like a goldfish and that they would forget whatever happened in the prior play and stay with what is happening right now. Be a goldfish. To be in the moment isn't kind of like letting go and shirking the memories of the past or plans for the future. It is taking in this moment right now. It's being aware of how this moment is the one that you get to live, a decision that you get to make to be here now. It doesn't have to be fast and responsive like ping pong. It can be at whatever pace that you choose. And yet it's still being responsive because you are in the moment. You get to choose how you want to respond, fast, slow, anywhere in between. So last night we were on a coaching call in Family in Focus, and a parent relayed how becoming more aware has become what I would call her superpower. It has completely changed her relationship with her children, as well as her own relationships with food, with her body. Some people will call this mindfulness, some will call it awareness, others will call it being present. And whatever you want to call it, I invite you to call it out as one thing. It's a choice that you can make. It's a choice to be in the moment. We don't have to roll with this kind of tide that we often get caught up in of regretting our decisions in the past and worrying about plans for the future. We often go to one or the other, but we can choose to be here in, kind of like this middle zone in between and to take it at whatever pace that we choose. Fast series of moments like in ping pong, or perhaps slower, like a quiet snuggle on the couch, breathing in fresh air, or pausing to ask, what am I feeling now? Is it hunger? It's a choice that is available to us, and being aware of that option gives us so much more power. I think of it as a slower version of ping pong in life. It's being in the moment, responsive to the moment, and also finding where you do have that control. It was such a beautiful example that my friend and client shared last evening because it's something where she brought it to her life and the impact that it has had upon her health and her family's health. And we celebrated that. So much appreciation and thank you for joining me once again. Now, if you do want to kind of get a taste of this for yourself, really dive in. Family and Focus is opening for another round starting in April. And you can find out details on the website. I'm going to have it in the show notes right down below. And so much love to you and your family. I'll see you next week. Mwah.